Hello, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us. I think I'm going to get started now, and if people join us, they can just jump right into the conversation. All right. Looks like we have a nice group with us this morning. Thank you so much for being here today. So this session is on social prescribing and the importance of leveraging the power of students. And go to the next slide here. So I want to start us off with a land acknowledgement. So we would like to respectfully acknowledge the unceded traditional and ancestral territories of the First Peoples across Turtle Island, Canada. And I want to start off with an outline to give you a sense of what we're going to cover during this time today. So I want to start off first by sharing a little bit about me and how I'm connected to social prescribing and the different hats that I wear in this area. Then I'll provide you with a bit of an outline about what we're going to cover today. Then I'm going to share the most exciting part, which is the Canadian Social Prescribing Student Collective and all of the great stuff that is happening. And then we'll do some interactive stuff. So I won't be talking the whole time. That would be boring. And so what I'm going to do is open some Jamboards so that we can start to have some conversations around students and how we might be able to get involved in the great work that's happening around Canada with social prescribing. And then finally, I want to try and leave some room at the end for questions so that you can ask me any questions that you might have. So hopefully we'll have 10 to 15 minutes for that. So I'm going to start off just talking a little bit about me and my involvement in social prescribing. So I am a PhD candidate in health quality at Queen's University, and my thesis work is focused on social prescribing. So hence why I'm here today and connected to the student collective. And I want to share some really exciting work that just happened because this is really relevant to everyone who has an interest in social prescribing, no matter what role you play or how involved you are in it or what you're doing, it will be relevant to you. So as I was conducting my thesis work, I noticed a common theme. And no matter whether I was talking to someone or reading the literature, I noticed the thing that kept coming up was the definition of social prescribing and the fact that we're all interested in this thing, but we can't really agree on what it is or how to define it. And so I recently conducted a study and brought together 48 social prescribing experts around the world. There was 26 different countries involved, and this included Canada. And together, they were able to come to consensus on how to define social prescribing, which is really exciting. And so for the first time ever in the history of social prescribing, we finally have agreement on what it is that we're talking about. So I can't share any more details other than that, but I will say that, stay tuned for the publication of that work. There will be a lot of shouting about it to kind of bring the social prescribing community together and have this shared sense of what it is that we're talking about. So besides that, I'm also really excited to be working as a research assistant at the University of Toronto and the Canadian Institute for Social Prescribing. And in this role, I'm supporting research that is related to the policy area and systems readiness around social prescribing in Canada. At the same time, I'm also involved as a social prescribing consultant to support the Vanier Social Pediatric Hub with their social prescribing project. So they just received a grant from the Public Health Agency of Canada to launch social prescribing for children and youth, which is the first of its kind in the country, which is really exciting. And of course, the reason I'm here with you today. So I am one of the co-founders and co-leads of the Canadian Social Prescribing Student Collective. We launched in March of 2022, and we are kind of the student branch of the Canadian Institute for Social Prescribing. So we're very excited to be here today to talk to you. So I'm now going to just share the two objectives that we have for today before we get started. So the first one is to describe the current state of the social prescribing student movement in Canada. So I'll be talking a lot about the student collective and what we've done so far and where we're headed. And then I want to kind of focus on identifying some ways in which students may support social prescribing efforts. So what does this look like right now? How are we already doing this? And then what are some opportunities, some things we haven't even thought of, and how can we start doing this even more than we already are? And this is where we'll get into that interactive piece. So what I'm going to do now is open up a Mentimeter. I love to ask this question, and I want to get everybody thinking and moving. So my question for you is, what is one word that comes to mind when you think about social prescribing? So what I'm going to do is just share my screen. Just give me one moment here. All right, and so what you'll have to do is, if you haven't used Mentimeter before, it's really, really easy to use. So you just have to go to www.menti.com. You put in that code that's right there, so 52648491. And then that's all you have to do. This question will pop up on whatever device you're using, and then you can, I think, insert up to 3 words. So I'll give everybody a moment to do that. If you have any issues, please do pop those in the chat, and we'll try and troubleshoot here. But it generally works quite seamlessly, so fingers crossed that it works well today. Oh, awesome. Looks like it is working. So thank you to those of you who have already submitted some responses. I always love to see this word cloud come to life. It's so great to see everybody's ideas. So community seems to be a popular one. Of course, the bigger the word, the more people have responded with that word. Holistic, I love that. This is so cool. Connection seems to be a popular one as well. Empathy, I love this. Yeah, I completely agree with all of that. It's something we talk about a lot as the student collective, this idea of community and really connecting people with their community. And even with our student collective, we've created kind of our own community. Integrated care is in there. I love that. Thank you so much to all of you for doing that. So we'll flip back to the presentation now, but if you want to input any more words, feel free to do that. And we are going to look at that later. So thank you. So we'll just take a moment here now that I've stopped sharing that. We'll bring the PowerPoint back up. Perfect. And now I think it'll just take a moment so that I can move it there. Fabulous. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is just share with you a little bit about the Canadian Social Prescribing Student Collective. So who we are, we're a group of students who are really, really super passionate about social prescribing. And I'll share a little bit more about that. We'll just flip to the next slide here. Let's see here. Hopefully it'll move. Maybe it's giving me some trouble. Oh, sorry about this. Let's see here. Giving you a little sneak preview of what's to come. Seems to be a little bit laggy. Oh, there we go. Perfect. Okay, we're back at this point. So what I'm going to be doing now is giving you a little bit of a timeline to share what we've done so far. So as I mentioned, we launched in March. It's now October. I think the best way to share what we've done so far is this kind of illustration through a timeline, because we've packed quite a lot into less than a year, which is really exciting. So let's see if this first thing will show up here. So awesome, it did. So if you haven't heard of this before, this is a really fabulous document. This is the Social Prescribing International Student Movement Framework document. This was released towards the end of 2021, probably around this time. And it really was a collaborative effort between students, researchers around the world who were interested in building the student movement. And so this is kind of what instigated all of this, to be honest. So Dr. Kate Mulligan was one of the authors in this framework document. And so she brought myself and the other two co-leads together after this was released to create a student group in Canada. And so what we did was use this framework as a guide to establish our group. So there's a 7-point checklist in this framework, and we kind of use that as our starting point, our way to kind of launch this group. So that was super helpful to kind of know where we should start ourselves off. So after that, see if the next one shows up. Absolutely. Question here as my slide is moving forward. Can you provide a link to the framework? Absolutely, yes. And feel free, if there's students in other countries, Colombia, we would love to chat with them and support other students in other countries in any way to build a movement in their country. So after that, we created our mission and values. We felt that this was really important to kind of ground us and have a starting point. So I'll share those with you later, but for now, just give you the high level overview. And it was during Social Prescribing Week in March that we launched our group. We timed it very strategically. There's a lot of interest in social prescribing, every week of the year, but particularly during this one. And the social prescribing community is very active on Twitter. So we kind of leveraged that and launched during that week, knowing we'd get a lot of interest. And it was at that time that we launched our Twitter account. So that was very strategic too. We post quite frequently, we're quite active. So if you aren't following us, please do. We're quite active, as I said, and I think we already have over 380 followers. So we're very proud of that. And then, so what we also did was launched working groups and post-secondary school chapters. So we've kind of, created this sort of multi-layer kind of system to our group. So I'll get more into that later, but that has been really critical to making sure that our efforts are not only national, but also local and collaborative at different levels. And this is a really exciting thing too. So especially relevant to the person who mentioned another country that might be interested. So we joined the Global Social Prescribing Student Council, and this brings together the leaders of social prescribing student groups around the world. So it not only includes us, we also have Australia, Japan, Portugal, Singapore, the United Kingdom, the United States, and of course, us. And we all come together every 6 weeks as a way to kind of network and collaborate, which is really exciting. Somebody is saying there's really loud music. That's very interesting. Very interesting. I don't have any music playing, so I don't know if hopefully the tech team can troubleshoot that, hopefully. Other people not hearing any music. Okay, good. Okay, very interesting. Some people have music, some people don't. Wow. I love when Zoom just throws in a little curveball like that. Huh. Okay. Pop back. Okay, somebody just said pop back to the plenary screen and hit pause. Maybe you're in 2 rooms at once and they're playing music. So I can promise you I'm not, but that would be fun. Yeah, okay. Hopefully that fixes the problem. So we've also established partnerships. So that includes academic partnerships, for example, Singwell here in Ontario. So that's really exciting. And we're very eager to create more of those partnerships. And we've also created community partnerships, and that includes arts and culture groups here in Ontario. So again, very eager to kind of develop that and create more partnerships there. We've also had some really exciting conversations around post-secondary institutions. So not only in terms of implementing social prescribing for students on campus, which we are very eager to do, but also this idea of incorporating social prescribing into the curriculum in health professional schools so that students are learning about this in their education. So very eager to have more of those conversations as well. And we've also participated in several webinars. So this includes the Australian Social Prescribing Student Collective webinar on social prescribing around the world. And we've also spoken at a webinar that was recently done by the Center for Innovation in Campus Mental Health on social prescribing and its role in the post-secondary context to support student mental health. And we've also recently hosted our own webinar on our efforts to build the social prescribing student movement across Canada. So if you haven't seen that, certainly check it out, and I can throw that in the chat if you didn't get a chance to tune in. We've also launched our own newsletter, so we're really excited about that. It's a great way for us to not only reach our students, but also our academic and community partners, and just kind of update them on what we're doing and any kind of recent developments in the social prescribing world. And most recently, we also created a LinkedIn account, and we also launched our webpage on the Canadian Institute for Social Prescribing website. And this is another great way for us to kind of increase our digital presence and make ourselves known to everybody out there. And last but not least, we're currently working on some sort of knowledge translation piece, some sort of manuscript to kind of bring this all together and share this with others, so that other students, maybe in other countries who want to do this, can kind of look at what we've done and build on that, and not have to reinvent the wheel in any way. So now we'll get a little bit more into the details. So the mission of our group is to build the social prescribing student movement across Canada. And we do this through our 4 values, which are to collaborate, educate, advocate, and innovate. And this really is kind of, it grounds us in everything that we do. So everything that we do comes back to these 4 things. So this is us. So that's me there. I'm one of the co-leads. Laitienne Bhaskar is a PhD candidate in health policy here in Ontario. She's also one of the co-leads. And then Nilu Aaron is a master's student in health sciences. And she is also one of the co-leads. So together, the 3 of us are kind of, have spearheaded this and are very passionate about this. And have been super excited to see how quickly this has grown. So enough about us, though. I want to talk about our members, because they're amazing. We have over 100 members across Canada, and that is quickly growing. So I can't even give you the actual numbers, because they're growing minute by minute. So we have our students in 6 provinces right now. We hope to reach every part of Canada eventually. And they represent over 20 post-secondary institutions. And another thing I want to point out is the diversity of our group. So everybody is in a post-secondary institution, but what they're actually doing is extremely diverse. So we have 40 plus undergraduate students, 30 plus master's students, 10 plus PhD students, and 10 plus health professional students. So very exciting. And we hope that this will grow, and hope that people will join us after today. And as I mentioned, we support the Canadian Institute for Social Prescribing. So we're very grateful to be doing this and kind of leading their student branch. And I'll talk a bit more about this later, but we are connected to them as well, making sure that our efforts are aligned with what's happening at this sort of national organization level. So at the international level, as I mentioned, we represent Canada on the Global Social Prescribing Student Council, and this brings together the leaders of student groups around the world to advance the global social prescribing movement. And then at the national level, we convene through general meetings. So we're about to have one next week. And we also have our 5 working groups that are focused on key topic areas to collectively build the student movement at the national level. So we have our research, policy, practice, knowledge translation, and medicine working groups. And they are doing some really fantastic things. So I'll provide you with one example. Our policy working group has started working on a policy statement on social prescribing and youth mental health in collaboration with the Young Canadians Roundtable on Health. So stay tuned for that. And our working groups are connected to the communities of interest that have been established by the Canadian Institute for Social Prescribing. So we have representatives from each of our groups in their communities of interest, which is a great example of how we're kind of making sure that we're connected in the efforts in what we're doing. And then at the local level, we have 5 chapters, and we hope to see this grow as more students get involved. And these groups are really on the ground, focused on building the social prescribing student movement locally. So we have Brock University, McGill University, the University of New Brunswick, University of Toronto, and the University of Waterloo. And again, I have to say that these groups are it's really exciting to see the stuff that they're doing as well. So I'll give you an example. The Brock University chapter is collaborating with Student Health Services and the Brock University chapter of the Institute for Healthcare Improvement to implement social prescribing on campus. And this will be the first post-secondary institution in Canada to do this. And so it's exciting for that reason, but super exciting too to see that students will be directly involved in making this happen. So next slide here. So what I want to talk about with you is leveraging the power of students, right? What does this exactly look like? And we actually had the opportunity to ask our students what they thought about this and come up with some ideas. So I'll share some of those things with you before we get to the point where you have the opportunity to do that. So they've said that, students could act as link workers for social prescribing schemes. And that's actually the idea for that Brock project that I just talked about. They want to have the students taking on that role for students to help students. Students could also develop and conduct training for those who are delivering social prescriptions to provide high quality social prescriptions. So for example, if it's an arts and culture prescription, they could provide training to the people who are providing that to ensure that what they are providing is high quality, right? Because it's all about the experience of that social prescription at the end of the day. They could also conduct internship and practicum opportunities. And I already have had universities approach me saying, hey, this is really cool. Can we create a partnership and have our students complete practicum? So for anybody out there who is doing this, let's see if we can kind of set that up, right? And have students, not only our members, but other students out there complete a practicum with the social prescribing work that you're doing. And last but not least, students could support social prescribing research. So I will talk about, share an example of that with you shortly. So just a few ideas from our students, but there's the possibilities are really endless here. There's so much opportunity for student involvement. So what I want to do now is just talk about two examples. So this one is an example of social prescribing with students, and then I want to share an example of social prescribing by students, just to give you a sense of what this might actually look like. So this project was done at Quest Community Health Center here in Niagara. This involved myself as a student, but I really want to spotlight Colleen, who was completing her undergrad when she was involved in this project. So Quest Community Health Center heard about social prescribing. They launched a social prescribing client survey, which revealed that, clients really wanted this. They really needed this. And so they decided to partner with Brock University, which has this iEquip program. You'll see their logo there at the bottom. And this is a program that pairs up undergraduate students with different kind of QI projects that are going on in the community. And so this allowed Colleen, as part of her coursework, to actually get involved in the social prescribing project and to build the infrastructure for the project and then help with launching the project, which was a great opportunity for her and for Quest. And so we spent about a year using the social prescribing guidebook that was released by the Alliance for Healthier Communities to create the infrastructure for social prescribing and then launched about a year ago now, actually. And so just one example here of how social prescribing can be done with students, and it's really mutually beneficial. So I'll now move on to social prescribing by students, and this is another excellent example. So the Navigating Ottawa Resources to Improve Health Clinic, otherwise known as the North Clinic, is an excellent example of a model of social prescribing that is led by students. So the North Clinic is a student-run interdisciplinary clinic in the Ottawa community that is led by medical and law students at the University of Ottawa who provide social navigation services to clients with social needs. So this is the first and only of its kind in Canadian universities. This model allows students to embrace social accountability, the rich interdisciplinary experiential learning. And although they don't actually label what they're doing as social prescribing, it certainly is. And it allows students to gain this firsthand experience of social prescribing and its many benefits. And so I wanted to also share that one with you today. So now what we're going to do is kind of switch back to the Mentimeter. So I'll now move over to sharing my screen again. Just need one moment for that. All right, so again, all you have to do is go to menti.com and put in that code. And so what I'd love to know now is, how important do you think it is to involve students in social prescribing efforts? And so I've put a bit of a range there. Do you think it's very important, kind of important, moderately important, slightly, or you're not quite sold yet on the idea and don't think that this is that important at all? I would love to know, especially after hearing those examples. What do you think? Perfect. It looks like people have been able to access it. So far, very promising results here. People think it's very important, or yeah, pretty important. So that's really good for us to know as the student collective. Awesome. Perfect. Thanks so much to everyone who has responded there. I will keep that open, but yeah, we'll maybe give another 10 seconds and then we'll move on here. Time goes by so quickly, especially when you're having fun. All right, thank you so much, everyone. I think I'll stop sharing and we'll move on. I want to make sure we have time for the interactive stuff. Perfect. So we'll just go back to screen share. Perfect. Now we'll just have to make sure that I can change it again. Perfect. Okay. Oh, yes. Okay. So now we're going to move on to the Jamboard. So I will explain this for you. So I am going to copy a link here in the chat. So let me put that in the chat for everyone. Okay. So hopefully this is going to work seamlessly. Everybody should be able to click on that Jamboard link, and you should have the ability to edit. I have put it on as edit. Okay. So what I'm going to do is share my screen soon, but first I'm going to go through the questions with you. So I have 3 different questions that I'm bringing forward in the Jamboard, and you have the ability to kind of pick and choose when you want to answer one, if you want to answer one, because you can just flip back and forth, which is really nice. So the first question is, how are students currently involved in social prescribing efforts? I'd love to know, is there stuff happening out there that we don't even know about yet? What is happening right now? Is anything happening other than the ones we're aware of? So there's that question. The next one is, how might students be able to contribute to social prescribing efforts? What are your ideas out there? Things that we haven't even thought about yet? What are you most excited about? We would love to know. And then the last one is specifically for us as the student collective. How might we be able to support social prescribing efforts? Maybe it's not an individual student, but us as the collective, how can we support what is going on out there? So I'll now share my screen here so that you can actually see what's going on. So this is it. Now I'll give you a quick tutorial if you haven't used this. It might look a bit intimidating, but I promise super easy. So there's kind of three rules here. You're going to want to add a sticky note if you have any thoughts to contribute. So that's what this looks like. All you do is go on the side here and you just click on sticky note, and then you can type in your response. Then if you read something and you're like, yeah, I really agree with that, you don't have to write another sticky note. What you can do is put a little check mark next to it, which you can do right here. And then that allows you to kind of be like, yep, I agree with that. And we can get a sense of the kind of most popular opinions, I guess. And then if you delete something, don't worry, that's okay. There's this undo arrow up here. And then problem solved. So don't panic. So now I'll show you, that's awesome. People are already adding ideas. I love it. So now I'll show you the pages. This is the pages up here. So what you do is you just kind of scroll through them. So here's this page on the first question I mentioned. Here's a page on the second one, and then the third one there. This page is just blank. Sometimes you can mistakenly add another page. That's okay. So yeah, what I want to kind of do is just give you the freedom to add your sticky notes. And then if anybody feels comfortable to, feel free to unmute yourselves. I believe you have the ability to do that. And we can also just kind of have a conversation about it. And I will also just kind of chat about them as they come up. So please feel free to do that. And thanks to everyone who's already added ideas. This is great. This is great. So I'll stop talking now in case anybody would like to talk. Interesting. It looks like it says that too many people are using the file. Very interesting. Okay. So I guess, well, I've never had that happen. I guess that's a good problem. There's too many people in this session. So what we'll do then is if you have ideas, please feel free. Oh, you can try again. It looks okay now. Okay. Well, if you're having issues, then please do just throw them into the chat. And we can just add those stickies in. That's no problem. But hopefully there's no issues now. Looks like there's 37 people in there at the moment. And if you're having any tech issues and like just unsure of how to add a sticky note or anything like that, pop that in the chat too. I'm happy to troubleshoot. But it looks like everyone kind of has it figured out. That's awesome. That's great. So how are students currently involved? I want to just read some of these because there's quite a bit in here already. Asset mapping, that's awesome. Community connector, link worker, I love that. I don't know if anyone from the Links to Wellbeing Project is in here, but I know that's something we've talked about. Like they have the people who kind of work alongside the person in that role. And that's a perfect opportunity right there for students to be involved. And I think they already have some students involved in that. So that's a great example of how students can support that. Awesome. Practicum students are working in our social prescribing program. That's really, really exciting to hear. I love that. Practicum students creating community asset maps. Yeah, I think that's fabulous. University of Guelph students support our social prescription and food prescription programs. That's great. We need to get connected with them. I don't know that we have many students from that university, so that's really great to hear. And then summer students creating and implementing youth social prescribing options. That's also awesome. I love to hear all of this happening. Great. Okay, I think what I'm going to do, I'll come back to these and read more, but let's see if any, oh yes, there's a lot happening. Oh, this is exciting. Okay, so how might students be able to contribute? And I want to make sure I can still see the time because I don't want to leave you in this room all day. I could talk about this all day. Perfect. So how might students be able to contribute? There's a lot of ideas here. So, practicum students as link workers. Yes, I love that. Co-designing campus-wide efforts at universities. Yes, exactly. That's kind of the idea behind the Brock project. So, they have those two student groups, including our Brock chapter, doing exactly that, co-designing everything. I think they have an asset mapping workshop think tank event that they're doing in November to kind of come up with a map of not only what's available on campus, but in the community for students, which is really exciting. And that is, I will say that project is also coordinated with Student Health Services. So there's a lot of interest there to have the providers on campus giving out the social prescriptions. That's perfect. So involvement in co-design of community efforts, contributing to research, absolutely, yes. And I know, so we have our research working group, right? They're definitely eager to hear about any kind of opportunities like that. So certainly we're happy to make those connections. And ask for electives to be created about social prescribing until it is included in core program curriculum. Yes, absolutely. I think that advocacy piece is really important. And we would love to see that. What else? Need more help getting the word out to the communities. Yes, yeah, I think that's really great. Does anybody want to, I'll just stop talking too for a moment and see if anybody wants to share anything out loud, especially if you're not able to get into the Jamboard. All right, no worries. Well, feel free to interrupt me if anybody wants to chime in.
I'll chime in for just a moment.
Awesome, awesome.
Hi. Yeah, I'm an occupational therapist in New Brunswick working on a social prescribing project through Red Cross. And I think like I went to school in Ontario, but I'm from the East Coast. And like I think occupational therapy students and the level of practicum and what they bring can also be like a really great tool or like support system. And at Western, for example, all OT students there have a requirement for 10 hours of advocacy to do throughout their 2 years. And I just think there are some really cool ways to leverage that with students as well, or implement similar types of things. So would love to like, I love everything about today. So just want to share that little piece of knowledge about OT and how it's really relevant in this context with students too.
Thank you so much for sharing that. Yes, we completely agree. We love that. The idea of OT students, not just medical students. We're trying to be diverse in who we're targeting, right? And the opportunities for getting many different types of students involved. I love that. And that's great to hear that that's happening in New Brunswick. I don't think I knew about that. So that's really exciting. I think we'll have to get you connected with our University of New Brunswick chapter if you're not already. So I will remember that. Very exciting. Great to see everything in the chat here too, trying to keep up with that. Perfect. Can we get a copy of the notes? That is no problem at all. So what I'll actually do is I'm not going to delete this Jamboard. So if you keep that link that I gave you, you will forever have access to this. I won't delete it. You can always just pop back into this and have access for sure. What else do we have here? So how might we as the student collective be able to support efforts? So the collective could provide a guidebook or package for starting this up in communities. I love that idea. We'll definitely have to bring that back to our students. We have a general meeting soon, so we'll do that. Provide tools, knowledge, exchange opportunities where students can share and learn. Absolutely. Spreading the word. Yes. Advocate for social prescribing to be included in curriculum for social work programs. Definitely, yes. I completely agree. I would love to see this in all programs. I think where our focus is right now is a lot on medical schools, just because that tends to be the one where they have the least amount of focus on this kind of social determinant side of things, right? Whereas in social work, it's kind of like practicing preaching to the choir in a way. They are fully invested in that idea, but we would love to kind of see, like eventually spread across all of those different programs. We would love that. What else? Sharing ideas and examples as you're doing now. Yes, we are happy to do that. Absolutely. Universities are slow and unresponsive. You can pressure and pester them. Yes, we are happy to do that. For sure. I love all this. So it looks like we'll maybe keep this open for another couple minutes or so. I want to make sure that I have enough time to get through the next stuff and some time for questions. But this is really great. Thank you to everybody who's added their ideas. This is really, really cool to see. I love that. And also, if you're like, throughout the day at the conference, like, oh, I have a great idea, I need to add that, you can just go back to the Jamboard. Like I said, I won't close it. So you're free to add ideas. And then we will look at this later as a team and look through all the wonderful things that you've shared. So thank you so much to everyone. So what we'll do now is just switch back to the PowerPoint. Actually, you know what? I've just realized, I'm so sorry. We have a Mentimeter question next. So yeah, we'll do that instead. Perfect. We'll actually stay on my screen. So what I want to do is ask you this question, and I believe you can respond to this on an unlimited number of times. So I just want to know, what are your thoughts around the social prescribing student movement and the importance of students in social prescribing efforts? So I asked you kind of in a quantitative way before, but now I'd just love to know, provide just your input on this. We'd love to know, and we can actually bring this back to our students, and I think they would love to hear what everyone has to say. So yeah, I'll just give everybody a moment to do that. Again, all you have to do is go to this website, put in the code. Should be quite straightforward. Perfect. Yep, menti.com. Awesome. Anyone's having any issues, just pop that in the chat, but it looks like it's working. This is great. So I'll just kind of read some of these as they come in. They'll start to scroll as they take up the whole screen. So the more awareness in students, the better chance of success in the future. We definitely believe that too. Really, the students and our members are, the future. And if we can get everybody passionate about this now as a student, then they'll bring this into their careers. Students are leaders in this movement with us. We're very happy to hear that and know that people think that. Fantastic. We need the support pushing this movement forward. We're unable to do it on our own. Students have untapped creativity that can help to come up with new ways to advocate for social prescribing to become more utilized in communities. Now, as it scrolls, it becomes a game for me to read it without it disappearing. Creates new perspectives. It's necessary and important. Students need to be empowered and supported. Well, I love all of this. This is just a great way to start the day. Students have momentum. Oh, this is awesome. Thanks so much to everyone who has responded here. This is really great. We'll bring this back, and it's just gonna put a smile on the faces of all of our members. I know that for sure. Perfect. The students need to reach out to the private sector as there are wonderful models happening on connection, PCC, and social prescribing. Process is key. It is not just about providing resources, but working closely with the whole person. Yeah, that's awesome. I really like that idea. We'll note that. Oh, students are valued members of communities, and we care about your creativity and innovation. You're awesome. Don't forget. Thanks so much. Oh, thank you so much, everyone. This is wonderful. So I'll go back to the PowerPoint now, but I'm going to keep reading through those later. If you add any afterwards, we will read them. And thank you so much. So we'll go back to the presentation now and just have a couple more slides, and then should have some time for questions, which is good. I'm glad we'll have enough time for that. So that was the Mentimeter. So just a quick little call to action for any students that are out there. Of course, join us. We really want you to join us, become a member of our group to get involved in our efforts to build the social prescribing student movement. So really, it's quite simple. I can put a link in the chat afterwards as well. You just go to our webpage. So socialprescribing.ca. Is the Canadian Institute for Social Prescribing website. We have a web page on there, and that is how you sign up. We have a link there. So very easy to do. For academic and community partners, collaborate with us. We'd love to collaborate with you. Reach out to us to find out how we can support one another. And we have a really great newsletter, so you'll get access to that. So yeah, this is how you can connect with us. So we have our email right there. So please do feel free to email us. And this is what I was talking about for the website. So socialprescribing.ca. And then if you want to reach us, it's just /student collective. But if you can't remember that, you just go to that website, and then it's very clear. There's a student collective button. You just click on us and you can get to us. We also have our Twitter account that I mentioned. We're very active, so do follow us. That's our Twitter handle right there. And we do have a LinkedIn account as well. So you just type in our name and we will pop up. So we'll just leave that in there. Perfect. Would you be able to share the feedback in the slides with anyone interested? Yes, absolutely. Absolutely, yes, we'd be happy to do that for sure. Okay, so we've now reached the fun part, the question part, and I guess we have about 15 minutes for that. So if anyone would like to unmute themselves and ask a question, you're welcome to do that. Or if you just want to put it in the chat, that's great. I don't know if I got, I'll try and scroll through these messages here to see if there's a question, but I don't think I noticed one. But if I miss your question, just throw it back in there. So it's back up at the top. Awesome, awesome. So as you're all kind of thinking through that, what I will do is find the link to that framework so that everyone has that. And then, oh, perfect, we have a question. Awesome. So are there groups for younger students? That's a great question. So I'm assuming what you mean by that is a student who wouldn't be in a post-secondary institution. At the moment, I can't say that I'm aware of anything. We have geared our students or our group towards post-secondary students, but it would be really great to see something created for a younger generation. So yeah, thank you for bringing that up. And we're going to definitely keep that in mind, and hopefully something like that will be created. Perfect. Okay, so if anybody else has any questions, pop those in the chat, and in the meantime, I'll get that framework. All right, so there is a link to the framework. And I see a question in here. So what are your main vehicles for communication? Anything new we should know about? I would say we're most active on Twitter. So that's where we really try and engage not only our students, but kind of the wider social prescribing community. We find that's where a lot of people are. It's really active. And so that's where we tend to release a lot of our information. But our newsletter is another really great way that we kind of update people on what we're doing, but also what else is happening. So for example, we just released a newsletter to our members and our partners, and it advertised this conference in the newsletter so that people were aware of that. So certainly you're welcome to contact us and get signed up for the newsletter so that you can be updated on what's happening. Can you share your email one more time? Yes, I'm definitely happy to do that. I'll throw that in there. Let me just get that for everyone. There it is right there. Perfect. So have the students done any research on person-centered care models with a focus on the whole person, meaningful conversations, goals, interests, and hobbies? And have the students worked on community mapping, walkable communities, and how to connect clients? Those are all just awesome ideas. And I can't say I don't think that has been something that's been done yet, just because we're so new. I think the working groups are just kind of starting to get a sense of where they're headed and what they're going to focus on. But I'm going to bring that back to them, and I think they would love all of those ideas. So thank you for sharing that. That's really, really great. Is there currently a strategy to engage med schools across Ontario? If so, what does that look like, and how can this community support your efforts? Yes, that's definitely something that we're interested in. It's difficult, it's a challenge, but definitely something we want to do. I was actually just speaking to a doctor yesterday about this idea. And I know that there's something else going in the works. There's definitely talks with another medical school that is eager to do this, but I can't say anything more than that. But I know at the global level, there is certainly interest in that. So especially in the UK, that's where a lot of that is happening. And there's so their student group is actually connected to the medical school. So they have representatives from every medical school, and they're really interested in the curriculum piece. And I know in Singapore, actually, they also just had a medical school announce that social prescribing will be in the curriculum. So at the global level, there seems to be a lot more interest around this. And so hopefully that momentum will kind of start having an impact here in Ontario, but also across Canada. So we are really interested in that, and definitely interested in supporting that and advocating for that, because we do feel that it's very important. So thank you for that question. So occupational therapy models are a great resource for person-centered and holistic care. Absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing that. There's a great model there. Oh, that's perfect. Mosaic's newsletter on their social programs. They've included an article on community and social prescribing. That's perfect. Hopefully everybody can check that out. This is great. I love all this conversation happening. That's perfect. So at Red Cross, with the support of a summer student, they mapped the local neighborhood, and they created a map that's powered by Google. That's really, really cool. Yeah, thanks so much for everybody adding that in there. Again, if anybody wants to unmute, you're welcome to do that. I know it can be quite daunting, but you're certainly welcome to take the stage. Well, I will say, you know, we're really excited. We're excited to see how quickly this has grown. I don't think we could have imagined when we started this that we would already have over 100 students at this point. It really just, I think it speaks to how much interest there is around Canada, the fact that so many students are on board with this. And again, you know, we're just kind of doing this alongside completing our PhDs and our masters. And so this is just, you know, just the beginning of what we've been able to do alongside what else we're doing. So there's so much potential for growth, and we're really excited to see where this is headed. Yeah, so we shouldn't forget that being a student is often tough, and social prescribing can be of use for students as well. That is so true. Yes. Yes, I've often thought that as I'm doing my thesis work on social prescribing, like this is really important stuff. And yeah, I think that's why we're so excited about the Brock project, for example, and really eager to have other post-secondary institutions take this on. I'm aware of a couple other ones that have kind of heard about the Brock project and realized, oh, that's really cool. We should do that too, because students could absolutely benefit from this. Absolutely. Are there any programs for certifying link workers or for students at university? That's a really great question. As far as I know, and if anybody knows differently, please chime in. There is not anything in Canada. We don't have anything in Canada for link workers. But in the UK, there is a national association for link workers that exists. But we don't have anything here right now. We don't have anything like that. So how can organizational partners and communities support students when collaborating? Yeah, that's a great question. I think just, you know, providing opportunities for students to get involved, supporting them however they need, but just, you know, letting students know that this opportunity exists. I think, you know, I think back to myself as an undergraduate student when I was involved in different volunteer opportunities, and I think, wow, like it would have been so cool to be involved in a social prescribing project. That would have been so fun and meaningful. And so, you know, just spreading the word, you know, whether it's through us or some other way, letting students know that this is an opportunity, whether it's a volunteer opportunity or a practicum, I think students would really benefit from this and find this really meaningful. It's such a powerful thing. And so just letting students know that this is an opportunity. And then you've created this community of students who are passionate, right? And they bring that into their careers. So yeah, great question. Yes, somebody just brought up the WHO social prescribing course. So it is free. It provides you with a certificate. That is an excellent point. So yeah, they just launched that, I want to say a few months ago. They also have a toolkit. So I'll see if I can find the link for that and share that. Yeah, it's only a few hours, and that is actually kind of geared towards link workers. You're right. So yeah, if that's something that you're looking for, I do recommend doing that. Thank you for sharing the link there. So that's the link to the course. And it is quite good. So if you're looking for something for a link worker, in the meantime, that is really great. I'll see too if I can find the toolkit document. If anybody has any kind of last minute burning question, feel free to throw it in there in the last 3 minutes. Awesome. Thank you so much, Marcy. You beat me to it. That's perfect. Fabulous. That is great. So again, you know, if you're a student, certainly do reach out to us. If you're an academic or community partner, please reach out to us as well. If you're not already connected to CISP in some way, you know, you're absolutely welcome to get connected to us. And even if it's just a matter of you want our newsletter, that's totally fine too. But yeah, we're super excited about this and eager to grow. If you come up with some sort of burning question throughout the conference today for us, feel free to email us. But thanks so much, everyone, for your engagement today. I hope that was that made it fun, and it was probably way better than me just staring at you and talking for the full hour. So thanks so much for being here. I really appreciate it, and enjoy the rest of the conference.